I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. We actually met a while ago, but right now you can see him as a swing in The Outsiders on Broadway, which is an incredible show. But before that, The Outsiders posted a fun little Instagram story where I learned that he performed in the 2017 Star Theater production of Cats as Munkustrap. So I'm excited to have Victor Carrillo Tracey to join me today and talk about Cats and The Outsiders.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Welcome to the show. We met in a very different format, but I'm excited because I did not know about the Cats' history when we first met, and obviously I don't think you even probably knew I did this show. But so now we get to marry these two things together, which is really fun. But
Absolutely.
I always like to start at the beginning of your Cats' history. So before the 2017 regional production, how familiar with the show? Was it like the 1998 movie? Was it on VHS for you growing up?
No, it wasn't. I actually saw my sister do a production of it, and it was a pretty good production. And I was watching in the audience, and I was like, I was both times confused and very intrigued. I was like, wow, this is so like I had very limited knowledge of theater as a middle schooler, high schooler. I wasn't like a full-on theater kid. I had very select pieces that I liked. I was into like Tommy, and I was into like Les Mis, and then, I wasn't just like an all consuming theater kid. So when I sat down to see Cats, I was like, oh wow. This is something this is a corner of the market I haven't reached yet. So I was
how old were you?
Was like 16 maybe.
Okay. So your sister was doing it. You were at a point where you at least recognized what was going on.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And then I was just confused, but also intrigued. And then from that, I was like, okay, well, I got to see what, the rest of this, lore is. And I did go to the filmed stage production, which was in 98, you said?
Yeah, 1998 was
okay.
the filmed production. Yeah.
And I really liked that pro shot, actually. I thought it was a very well done pro shot. And I actually remember watching the Rum Tum Tugger number maybe like 10 or 15 times in a row, because I thought that was a very, very well done pro shot number, and I was very impressed by that. But yeah, that was my first kind of occurrence run-in with the musical.
Yeah, and who did your sister play?
She was she was the young one that sings at the end, that sings Memory, which is Syllabub, right?
Usually?
Syllabub, yeah.
Okay, so Syllabub. And how old was she when she was this the same theater, or was this a different place?
It was the same theater that was the first iteration of that production. And then when it came back around a couple of years later, I was in the production. Because it was so, it sold so well that they brought it back. But she was maybe, if I was 16, she was 13.
Wow. So that fascinates me. I've now talked to a few people who did it as like children, 13, 15. And it's just wild to me when you know the story and the plot that it's like, yeah, cool. We'll just let a 13-year-old do this jellicle ball together and just pretend it's not what it actually is supposed to be.
Literally. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then it rolls back around and you audition. How old are you? Like how much professional work have you done at this point?
I grew up in a town called Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's on the coast of New Hampshire and Maine. And there's it was perfect when I was growing up. There was like this cluster of regional, like not fully equity houses, but like houses that had, room for a couple equity out of town contracts, and then a lot of local actors that like lived in town. And it was pretty special. I don't think a lot of places in the United States had that amount of regional theaters that would cast locally. So there was Algonquin Playhouse, which is a great regional house. There was the Seacoast Rep. There was a Star Theater in Kittery. There was a bunch of them. And so when I was in high school, I had the privilege of, working regionally, slash professionally at like a pretty base level while I was still in school. I'd done a couple of regional shows up to that point. But yeah, this was in my senior year of high school that I was doing this production, my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 2017, senior year of high school.
Yeah.
You're doing probably 4 to 6 weeks, is my guess.
Yeah. Yes. Like
Of
5
show.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my first question always for regional productions is,
Yeah.
how much did they tell you about Munkustrap? Like what kind of backstory and background did they give you for your character?
Not a whole lot,
Okay.
I would say. I kind of, I think there's a lot of, I think in regional productions, to no fault of anybody, the go is so fast, and the artistic director's hands are on, if this set gets made, and if it's just like a free for all. So I think character development is probably very low on the list for regional productions.
Yeah.
So I didn't have much information about it. It was very much about the steps and the look of it all, and the lifts first, and character development came pretty late in the game.
It's interesting because it's like I've now talked to a lot of the regional theaters, some that are doing it, and it's exactly that. It's like we've got a show that I can't let two people kick each other in the face,
Right.
let alone try to tell them the backstory of this very loose plot
Right.
that exists. But having seen it and kind of been through it, like, did you try to add? How much did you try to build of your character in the 5 weeks, or was it just like, again, make sure I'm at point A to point B, sing the right notes, and then move on?
No, I took care of that. I took care of that first, but then I understood as much as I could about him being kind of a protector, and like a leader. I was also at the time I was also a senior in high school trying to get into musical theater colleges, so it was like a lot of double duty. So I was like, I tried to imbue as much of uh of me as an older brother, as kind of a leader among friends, as that in my role in the pack of that show. Yeah, it was, and I think that's as far as it went. I didn't really go far into the, into the poems of the text. I kind of, yeah, I think that's as far as it went for me.
Yeah. Did your sister do this production too?
She did, yeah.
Okay. Who is she in this one?
Oh no, she didn't do this. She did.
She did the first one.
Yeah, she didn't do this revival, if you will.
Yeah. They brought it back years later.
Exactly.
They sold out. They couldn't handle the demand. They had to bring it back.
Right.
Okay, I love that. As a there's probably, what was the range of like performers? Like, you're in high school years ago. You had a 13-year-old doing it for your sister. Did you have that same kind of wide range? And what was the, like, it's such an ensemble family-based show. Like, how does that build in 5 weeks?
Yeah, there was people that had done it the first time around. There was some pretty great dancers. Couple people from the city, from New York. There's a couple people who were locals, but again, there was in the town which I grew up. It wasn't like a Boston or like an LA where there's like a lot of talent, but there was like dedicated people who would move to this town to just do the regional productions that were there. And that, they a lot of them were part of this production, and they were great, fantastic dancers. A lot of people from the local college dance programs, UNH dance, I think, even some from UMass. So yeah, it was a as bustling a scene professionally as it could have been for Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That's the way I always kind of think about it. So it was kind of a mix. There was professional actors. There was 1 or 2 equity actors. And then I always kind of rode the line of like, I knew this is what I was going to do for a career. And so they kind of let me, where like, they would have a couple high schoolers in the ensemble. They would always kind of be gracious enough to kind of, elevate me in a role amongst people from out of town or people from colleges and stuff like that, which would be really great, which is an awesome experience to have. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're a lot of times when you hear high school or younger for characters, it is the like Alonzos or Tumble Brutus or the Syllabubs. It's like the
Sure.
ones where you're dancing and you're kind of just singing, but I mean, you have a focal role, like you are almost a narrator. So they gave
Right.
you at high school, at senior in high school, a pretty meaningful role, which is really
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It's a good experience.
So at the end of your 5 weeks, did you feel like you understood Cats? Like, or is it just we put on the unitard, we danced, we sang, and now I'm ready for my next one to go to college next year?
I don't know. I think maybe a little both. I think I understood my version of it, or the version of it we were trying to do. I really did. Speaking of the unitard, I really did enjoy doing that and putting that on and like, for a regional production, the makeup actually and the costumes weren't that bad. Because
Yeah.
I've seen some other, some
Yeah.
regional where I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But these were rented from like some tour, and they looked, I mean, every unitard was exactly like carbon copy of what, went out on the tours and stuff. And I was like, all right, this is cool. So when I got into that and snapped on all the fur parts and put that makeup on, I mean, it was a certain feeling that is, I don't think is replicated in any other costume I've ever worn before, where it's just, you look at yourself and you're like, holy crap, this is definitely not me, an hour ago. And I enjoyed that. And so I kind of, that also opens up a physicality within yourself, and when you interact with other people, that you just don't get when you're wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants in rehearsal.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
So I got lost in that a little bit. I think I understood the physicality of it and really enjoyed that kind of that weirdness and those colors that I don't usually get to paint with for other roles. But yeah, also, it was a 4-week run, so I didn't like really just, white.
You're not studying the text.
Right. I didn't white knuckle all the, acting choices or whatever. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. This is great. This has been a great time.
What was your family's reaction and friends' reaction when they came to see it? Thankfully, like for your family at least, this was the revival, as you said, so they had a little pre-run to it. But like when you had a friend come, how did you explain hey, I'm in Cats? And
oh man,
if they don't know it. What was that?
I think my basketball coach came to see, because I played basketball in high school, and I was like, and he had come to see me as well as a lot of high school boys do, as Valjean and Les Mis, and that was a little more understandable. And I was like, he's like, what are you doing now? I'm like, well, I'm doing this show where I'm, it's all dancing. I'm in a leotard, and if you want to bring your, girlfriend, and it's so funny. It's like, it's if you're not in the know on theater and you're not in that, section of pop culture, it's like people are like, what the fuck did I just watch? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had a lot of that with especially my basketball coach. He's like, wow, that was special. That was different. And my dad too. And it's like, wow, that's interesting. So yeah, it was a lot of those reactions, but those are fun to come by.
Oh, totally. I think it's kind of a unique thing because it's so different than a lot of theater. Like, especially, we'll get to The Outsiders, but like The Outsiders is a book people know, and you go and it's like really cool to see, but it's a story with humans, and it's like Cats, you're just watching them fully immersed, and you're kind of in a junkyard that they've built, and there's really not the plot's kind of super loose.
Totally.
So you don't know what you're following the whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of hilarious to hear about that.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun too. Did you have any memorable, like, fun stories that like you'll never forget from those 5 weeks?
Yes. The way that our junkyard was built was that the tire that wow, I haven't flexed these muscles in a while. The Old Deuteronomy stands on for a lot of the show was like in the center of the junkyard, which is it always center or is it kind of off sometimes?
It usually feels a little off to the side.
Right. So it was like in the center, elevated on like this like this platform, and then we had this like catwalk that was like maybe 8 feet above it.
Okay. that you like went up and did stuff on.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and there was no, safety regional. There's no safety railing from there. So the first choreographed move of that show was, and the tire had like a wooden thing in the center of it, kind of like The Outsiders actually. And it gave a little bit. And so the first choreographed move of the show, of course, me as like an 18-year-old high school kid, I was like, yeah, let's do this. Was on that first musical interlude when it went, when it goes da 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 da, and I was to pop my head out and get on that center platform, like, very like, Spider-Man cat like, and then jump from the top platform down to the tire.
So you jumped off the 8-foot platform into the tire.
I had measured it. It was, yes, and I gave myself, and I had to literally like look and like shoot for it every time. And now that I look back, I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? I was like, that's so incredibly not a good idea. But
not allowed for a continuous run.
My
that
God,
is only for 5 weeks.
Not allowed for.
And that's only for an 18-year-old. Yeah, it's like they'll let you do that.
If any professional equity member was present, they'd be like, "What are you doing?" So I did that. And I remember one time I had Taco Bell in between shows, and I come down from that first move, and I was really nicely full of Taco Bell in that unitard, and I jumped down, and I remember landing and being like, and like just like swallowing the food back a little bit, which was hilarious.
I can only imagine that your basketball coach comes and the first thing he sees is like your ACL borderline tearing.
That's right.
As
literally
you're landing.
Literally.
He's going to be like, yeah, we need you to not do that. I need you to play this season.
Just crunching knees and exactly Achilles and ACL. I was like, oh my God, what an awful idea that was. But yeah, that was a good memory. And I also got a lot of dance training in that show, which is good. I didn't dance until college. And so when they wanted to elevate me in this role, they're like, all right, they put me through like the 3-week like dancing boot camp before that with the girl who was playing Victoria, right? The white cat.
Yeah. Yep.
With her, who had done the production before and who had done a lot of stuff regionally and was like a semi-professional dancer actress. And so they gave me like a 2-3 week boot camp with her, with lifting and with like, how to create, the lines that they're looking for in the show and the movement vocabulary. So that was very impactful for me because I had never moved my body like that in my life. And it was also, it was good going into college, with that and being fast tracked through that. And I learned best under pressure. So that's a very good memory for me was, I always learn best if I know I have to do something and I have a like date this is due by, I can get there. So it was nice. It was really cool.
Yeah. And a Victoria role's such a dance role that has to be borderline professional dancer.
Yeah.
So you got to work with somebody. Yeah.
Totally.
Awesome.
And she was great. And she knew exactly, I had never lifted a girl like that. And for my career, of course, that's been really great to learn that so early. But she, just this is how I need to be held, and this is how this goes, and whatever. And it was great. It was fantastic.
Nice. Do you have any desire to do cats again in your future?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I would love to play Rum Tum Tugger.
Tugger, great.
That would
That's
be
going to be a future question. So
far and away the role that I would want to play. Absolutely.
I love it. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. I want to pivot to The Outsiders because I mean, a fantastic show. Obviously, I've seen it a couple times. Been fortunate to see it a couple times. Got to see you perform in it. And you're a swing. You cover a lot of characters. I think you're covering. I had it looked, but you're covering both two of the brothers and Paul and a couple other people. So let's start with just like for people who haven't seen it yet. What is what has that experience been like for you? And what's that show kind of, it's obviously taken off, won a Tony, it's been built an incredible fan base, but what has it been like being on that journey?
Oh, it's been insane. It's been unbelievable. I can't say enough about it. It's something that, when you go, wanting to do this as a career and when you go through college, it's like the dream scenario is to have a Broadway debut, and then that your show, wins the best musical, and then you have this fan base, and your show is, renewing for a second year, and all this. That's like, you're like, if that could happen, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
And so for that all to happen in our first year, I think we all are. It's very rare, and we're so cognizant of the amazing opportunity that we have and the platform that we have to be in the show every night, and to go out and to never see an empty seat, and for people to always load the stage door and know all of our names, including the offstage people. It's really something that we do not take for granted. Speaking for myself, I'm speaking for a lot of people in the cast. It's something that every milestone we've reached with the Tonys and opening, and a year now, it's really, really special. And the show is as fresh as it was for me, and I know for a lot of us, as when it opened, because we have new people in the show now. New people coming in, new fresh blood coming in, that's experiencing this for the first time. So it's great. It continues to be the gift that keeps on giving, and I absolutely love my job. I thank the universe. I thank God for my job every day. I am very, very grateful to be in this position, to be in this show.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing to marry. Like, it's such an amazing show. Obviously, we talked a lot about it, and the other thing we did, and it just the creativity, the production, the directing. I mean, just everything from start to finish. The performances is amazing. I want to hear a little bit more about the stage door, though, because your stage doors can get a little wild.
They can, yeah.
It's in a positive way, I think. Like, it's a fandom.
Yeah.
But how has that been? Like, it went from kind of 0 to 60, where it's been like really, like, people are leaving before the last song to go get to the stage door type of thing at times.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
But how do you? Yeah, that was, at least I've seen it on social media. But
wow,
how are you all like embracing and kind of dealing with that stardom that kind of has come with this?
I think it's all positive. I really enjoy. I think it's one of the great perks of our job is to, there's very few jobs in the world where my uncle used to tell me, like, very few jobs in the world where at the end of your shift, people will literally stand up and clap for you. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's really great. And then to add on to that, you can, have the choice as an actor to go out and, and meet with the people that you just performed for. And I think that's a really unique thing for Broadway that doesn't happen in other mediums. So we're all, I think, really enjoying it and loving it. It can get, a little crazed on certain nights. And I don't think that's anyone's, fault on either side. I think there's a lot of excitement for us and a lot of excitement from us to the fans too. And sometimes all it takes is like sometimes they're like crowding over the top, and it's, sometimes it's all it takes is like, oh, we'll get to everyone. It's okay. To remind people not to push people in the front, and we have a great security team too. So, it's some nights it can get that way, but more often than not, it's really beautiful experiences with people that we've just affected, and that in turn have amazing things to say back to us about why this night was special for them. And that's always the thing I take away from it is it's really, it can get really personal. Like somebody told me the other day when I was performing as Daryl. She only had a couple words because she could only get out a couple of words, and she was with a group of girlfriends, and they were, I think, all mothers. And she told me, she said, I lost a brother when I was, little, and she kind of couldn't say much more about it, and she was like, I just, thank you for that tonight, and yeah, that's all I needed to hear, and that's all she really could say. And it was absolutely, I understood, and I was grateful to have had the opportunity to, maybe heal a little part of that for her, or maybe, give her a good memory of, her brother that she lost. So moments like that are so rare and so unique to the Broadway experience, where, in a movie, nobody can, if I was affected by an actor, I can't really go tell that actor immediately, but
yeah,
you got to find me, and, I got to find her, and we got to have that moment, 20 minutes after, that last scene on stage, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is definitely a very unique part to Broadway. and theater to be able to have those moments and
Absolutely.
have that accessibility and maintain that, like, in a very unique and cool, healthy way.
Yeah.
And as I also think for you, it's probably unique by playing so many different characters, you get kind of to impact somebody a different way at different nights. So you said you mentioned Daryl, you play Soda Pop, like you get different kind of cuts of the experience by being different brothers or different, I think you play a Soch too. So like you kind of get to go on all sides of the spectrum there.
Yeah. It's funny to see how people react differently when I'm like, if I'm like, a Paul at a stage door, people are different than if I'm like Soda Pop. It's just, it's hilarious. And I also really appreciate, there's people that, again, with the fandom that, will come to the show because they know I'm scheduled to be on for something they haven't seen me as. And so that's really cool. And, people are always like, oh, I've seen you as Daryl and as Soda Pop, and I really wanted to see the other. And it's very much appreciated to have, a fan base for the show that appreciates the people, that aren't always scheduled to go on for the role. And that's really, really special.
Yeah. All right. We're going to test your cat's, character here.
Oh, geez.
I like to cast the outsiders characters, but if the cat's characters were playing them. And so I've thought a little bit about this. I do think a couple of them line up pretty well. Some shows I've done this with, it's like really hard. So I'll help you out in case you only did 5 weeks. If you don't remember some of the names here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go backwards here. So I'm going to start with Paul. Who do you think Paul would be?
Oh, geez.
Which cat would be Paul?
Paul would be McCavity.
McCavity.
Or do you have Bob as
somewhere
McCavity?
else? I actually have Dallas as McCavity.
Really? Wow.
Because Dallas has done a lot of crime.
Okay.
And that's kind of the only reason I did that. I think there's also a little bit of like, there's some, like Dallas is pretty slick and cool. And,
sure.
And I think there's a little bit of that in McCavity. I had Paul as Alonzo.
Gotcha.
Because similar kind of, built up character, not always in the forefront though, but definitely doing a lot behind the scenes.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I went there. For Bob, I had somebody else though.
Oh man. For Bob? Did you have Tugger for Bob?
I had Bust for Jones. I think Bob's buying his way around.
Oh my God. Yeah, damn, that's crazy.
I have Tugger somewhere else. Don't worry, Tugger's
I think I'm going to go like 0 for 10 on these.
No, there's no right answer. Actually, this will be your fan base, I'm sure. If there's a Cats Outsiders overlap fan base, which there definitely is, I'm curious where they will be placing these, and we'll be asking for that on social media too. What about Beverly? And I only have this one because of Melody.
Would it be the person that Melody played on tour?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Which was
Tantamile.
Tantamile, right.
What about Cherry?
Victoria?
Victoria's good. I thought Victoria or Bombalurina.
Bombalurina. Yeah. Okay. I see that.
All right. Soda Pop.
One of the what's the freaking name? One of the
Mungo Jerry.
Mungo Jerry.
Okay, I can see that. I was debating Mungo Jerry and Tugger.
Oh yeah, that makes sense too. Tugger makes sense for Soda Pop.
What about Daryl?
Daryl makes sense for me for Munkustrap, I feel like.
Munkustrap and Old Dew, so kind of
Old
same
Deuteronomy.
type of yeah, those are the two I was thinking there.
Yeah.
We did Dallas. What about Johnny Cade? This one I think was the hardest.
Syllabub.
Syllabub's good. I went Skimble Shanks just because of like the carrying and and kind of doing stuff. And I also I could see Syllabub shanking somebody if he needed to. Or I mean Skimble Shanks.
Skimble Shanks.
And then Ponyboy.
Damn. I don't know. What did you put for Ponyboy?
I put Tumble Brutus because Tumble Brutus is like 3 words, is tough but touchy.
Wow.
And I thought that kind of fit pretty well for Ponyboy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm amazed by your picks. I'm so impressed. How many?
I've done 200 plus episodes of Cats content, so I can cast these cats in basically anything.
How many times have you seen Cats?
Not as much as people think. So a lot less live than people realize.
Sure.
I've seen it probably. Well, I saw the most recent Ballroom, the Pack.
Right.
I saw that one
Which
3 times.
Which is coming to another space, right?
Fingers crossed. Everything is just rumor mill right now.
They put out
but
some
hopefully-
like press thing though. Like it
they,
has
they
to
did
be.
social media again.
Okay.
And their social media, they said, they claim is just to continue the fandom. But it's
They wouldn't
it's gotta
put
come
money into
somewhere.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a win, I think, but nothing official yet. But hopefully that does come back. I saw that 3 times. I saw the 2016 revival twice.
Cool.
I saw the U.S. tour twice, and then I have tickets to go to a few regional and international productions coming up. But I think that's actually all I've seen live at the moment.
Cool. You didn't see the the non-equity national tour a couple years ago?
I did that one. I saw that
You
one
did?
twice.
Oh,
That was
okay,
the one.
cool.
Yeah, I ended up seeing them in DC and did.
Oh, cool.
I filmed my 100th episode with them
Oh, you did?
for this podcast. Yeah.
Who did you talk
I
to?
went down there. Oh, I talked to a bunch of them. So after we hang up, I'll share with you all the
Okay.
stuff from that. But
Yeah,
super
I
fun.
had
They're
a couple.
great group.
I had a couple friends on that one.
Yeah,
So,
they
yeah.
were a great group, and they did 3 or 4 years too. Because basically the minute they came back from COVID, they did a bunch. But
Yep.
I was there in DC in January of 22, 23, 22 or 23.
I saw them open in Rochester.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Let's do some catch rapid fire here to close us out. So you've already answered this question. If you could play any character, who would you want to play? You said Tugger.
Rum Tum Tugger.
Who are your favorite and least favorite cats, personality wise? Like, which one would you enjoy to hang out with, and which one would bug you?
I think I would enjoy to hang out with Rumple Teaser. I would like to hang out with Jenny Anydots.
Okay.
And I would like to hang out with who else? I guess
Who would bug you?
I think who would bug me is Gus the theater cat.
Gus. Don't want to hear
Man,
those stories.
I don't want to. It's a long part of the show, man. And it's like,
okay.
if I were to just hang out with him, I think I just would get annoyed by the pace, the pacing
Yeah.
of the conversation.
Too slow for you. What's your favorite song in the show?
My favorite song in the show.
In Cats.
I mean, it's not a song. I guess I really enjoy the it's not a song, but I enjoy the fight, the altercation between
Oh yeah.
when
okay.
McCavity comes out and is like, has the 2 cables at the end.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great part of the show.
Okay. Nice.
I enjoy that musical interlude, I guess.
Do you have a favorite song in The Outsiders?
I like Far Away from Tulsa. I think it's a beautifully written song.
Yeah.
Beautifully written melody.
Okay. And then is Munkustrap a greaser or a soch?
I think Munkustrap is a greaser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they all greasers? Or
I don't
are there
know.
A little bit of mix.
Maybe I think there's a mix.
I think there's a mix.
Maybe
too.
there's a mix, yeah.
Okay. And then this whole show is kind of built around the premise that I don't think Grisabella is the right Jellicle choice. So I want to know,
Right.
you, Victor, do you think Grisabella is the right Jellicle choice? And if not, who are you picking?
No.
Okay. Who are you picking?
I am picking I am picking I'm trying to think through. I'm picking Victoria.
Victoria. Okay. Give me the rationale. I'm not going to argue with you because it's not Grisabella. So I'm for this answer.
I don't know. In my memory of the show, I think I don't know. She presents herself very well throughout the show and is very, I don't know, elegant and I don't know. Why are you looking at me?
Taught you how to dance.
Yeah, it's taught me how to
it.
dance. I have great memories of Victoria the cat.
That's the reason. Awesome. I mean, again, anytime it's not Grisabella, I don't usually argue too much with the answer. So I will mark you down as a Victoria vote.
Why is it not for you? Why is it not Grisabella for you?
Originally, it was a joke because I saw Leona Lewis and I thought it was the X Factor on drugs. So I wanted to send Tugger and Mistopheles together. But I think like if you like break it down, there's a lot of younger Grisabellas now, especially with regionals and on tours. And to me, it's like depends on your definition of the heaviside layer. But my argument is if you're going to welcome her back and you give her this whole redemption arc, that's like the whole part of the story. Why not let her spend a year with her family? Like, why can't she go next year? Like, I want her to spend one more year, go to some birthday parties. Like, she got welcomed back. and she can go next year. Send Gus this year. He's about to die anyways. You're bored of him. You're like, you're done with him. You want him out of there. So just like, let's let him go now. Let's let Grisabella spend some time with the family, and then she can go next year.
Wow. Fantastic. I admire your fandom for cats. This is incredible.
I'm slowly trying to convince a theater to let me just send somebody else up one night. That's my goal. Or in your case, jump off the ledge.
Yes,
for
exactly.
one night.
Just call
Isabella's climbing her way to
just
the
call
heaviside
Andrew
ladder.
Lloyd Webber. I'm sure he'd let you do it. I'm sure he'd let
He's
you.
here in New York right now. I saw he's doing all the Phantom stuff.
There
So
you go.
I just got to go try to catch him on the street and
Exactly.
say, hey, I fundamentally disagree with one of your most successful shows ever.
There you go. Absolutely.
See how that lands with him. This has been so fun. How can people stay in touch with you on social media and in general?
You can follow me at Victor C. Tracey on Instagram. I'm kind of not the TikTok guy yet, but Instagram is the main way I communicate with the world and keep people up to date. So at Victor C. Tracey.
Awesome. We'll link that. We'll link how to get tickets for everything for the Outsiders as well. And
Absolutely.
appreciate you being on, and hopefully you get your Tugger moment in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is so fun. Thank you. And thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown Cat Search Feed. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcast. Follow us on social media at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.